Welcome back to KJ Knows Best, everybody. Pleased to join you for another episode here. We have producer Corey back again, as always. Corey was actually just on vacation, had a great week with his family down in St. Simons. He's actually gotten a big announcement. I think you saw, as if everyone saw on the BPGA page, was posted that Corey, producer Corey, played Sapelo Hammock Golf Course. So I'm going to let Corey talk to us about the course conditions. Corey, I think everyone really wants to know. Not only did the Instagram shots look really good, but the greens looked like they were really slick. What can you tell us about your experience? That's obviously we're leading up to the BMI, so the course conditions probably aren't going to change too much.
Yeah, no, it was a good move to go out there. I'm happy we did it. It was about an hour drive to Sapelo, and once we got there, it was evident that it was the best I've ever seen Sapelo. They had the whole grounds crew out there. It was at least 15 different people cutting down trees. Trimming around the course. I mean, it was a full on crew. They did have a youth kids camp going on, so I assume the final day of that camp they play the course. So I think that's what they were prepping for. But I think we're gonna benefit from that for sure. Like I said, this is the best I've ever seen Sapelo. I could be remembering, but it was overall 10 out of 10 experience. The greens were perfect. The only greens that I remember having kind of those burnt edges that we've seen at Sapelo before are hole 1 and 9. Um, so those two were really the only ones that had the little bit of sand, missing grass here and there, but everywhere else was pristine greens. And it was actually kind of weird. We were getting a feel of the putting surface, and there's not to give too much intel away to the field, but they were rolling pretty medium speed, not too fast, not too slow. But we got on the back nine, and the greens were really slow. And I don't know if that was because the sun was beating down and those at the later part of the day, or what was really going on there. But that was one thing I did notice is the green speed seemed to slow down throughout the day. Um, but like I said, there was nothing to complain about. The tee boxes were actually playable. There's always that one or two hole that has the kind of uneven tee box or whatever the case might be. This round, everything seemed to be going well. Now, I will say, as a caveat, everywhere I played on the whites except the par threes. Now, obviously, I did look at the tips and I did look at the blues just to kind of see. But as far as I could tell, like I said, everything looked really nice and ready for the BMI in 2 weeks. So hopefully, like you said, I don't think much can change over a 2 week span. But we are in for a great championship. I think we're going to all be pleased with what the grounds crew and what the chairman and the committee has done to prep for this tournament. Really, overall, 10 out of 10 experience last Wednesday. So, yeah, really not too much more to add unless you got questions about anything specific. I will say, hole two. There was a lot of speculation about hole two being a par three or a long par four with water in the middle. I am pleased to announce that there is no water on hole two. So that will be a par four that we all recognize. Um, God, that's a confusing tee shot. I mean, it's a wide open course, and just hit the ball down the middle, hit the ball to the right every single time. Anyway, um, so yeah, I think we're all going to be pleased. Like I said, Marsh Monster is eating, very full. Gave him a couple balls to sacrifice and let him know I respect him before the tournament starts. But like I said, great course, and I think we're gonna be very pleased with our rounds.
Well, that's awesome to hear, Corey. Really appreciate you recapping that for us, because when you were telling the group text about the conditions, I really didn't know what to believe. Obviously you never know what to believe, but um, you saying that it's the best it's looked gives me, and I'm sure all the other participants in the field, a lot of confidence going down there in 2 weeks. So that's awesome to hear, and great news about hole 2. That was going to be my only follow up question. So with that, you know, who else better to bring on than the chairman himself, Chairman Davis,
Good
joins the show.
afternoon. Good
Chairman Davis, welcome to the
afternoon. Good afternoon.
how how are we? A nice hat, first of all. Thank you
Thank you.
for joining the show.
We love
Yeah.
our sponsors at Canadips. Canadips, Humboldt, California. Stay repping. Got this really cool Canadips camouflage hat that we're going to be raffling off. You guys have seen. We've got a lot of sponsors coming down the pipe. We love our sponsors, but you guys have seen the JBL speakers. You've seen the range finders that we got. I'm hearing some rumors that there might be a couple clubs as well, like there was last year. So we got some good stuff rolling, man. Content is king, and we are churning.
Yeah. I mean, just to piggyback off that, is there any other sponsor updates that you will see in the next few weeks before getting down there, or is everything is there? Yes. Okay. So you're saying yes.
We got some more. We got some more stuff coming for you boys. You're gonna like what you see. I guarantee it.
I love it. I love it. Hey, so let's talk about this. This is your first BMI. Obviously, we've had the BMI in other places, but this is your first BMI, not being back in the bluff or being a Blufftonian, whatever you want to call it. How is that presented? Has that presented, a lot of different challenges to you getting ready, get everything kind of in order? Obviously, Corey was just talking about the course, but we really wouldn't have any set of eyes on it really going into it unless we just heard that review from Corey. So talk about the challenges that this year has presented.
Yeah, I'm so thankful that Triple's able to get down there and get some eyes on the place because since Lower and I left, it is concerning. I mean, you never want the course to play a factor, in the tournament. The last thing we want to get there and have 3 or 4 greens be beat up or something like that. We want the course to be in great condition for all of our competitors, and I'm happy to hear and happy to see that it is. For me, the biggest thing, and a lot of people probably don't realize this challenge, but the BMI for me has become much more than a golf tournament. There's so much that goes on behind the scenes, even during the tournament. So it's really nice to not have that pressure of having to not only run the tournament and make sure everything goes off smooth, but also having to do the stuff at the house, making sure things are cleaned up. God forbid, in the years prior where we've had to cook meals and all of that stuff, it takes an incredible amount of time and effort. And, we're usually very, very thankful to have people that help with that. But at the same time, it's just the sheer amount of effort that it takes having to run the tournament, but also host the tournament. I've never really had a year where I've just gotten to go down there and play golf. So that's what I'm looking forward to the most. I don't give a shit. I'm not cleaning up a thing at the Eagles Nest. I can tell you that.
That's a really good point, and I didn't even think about. Obviously, you not only host a golf tournament, but you also house for years. Sometimes the majority of the field. Now, recently, obviously, people were all starting to get our own space, our own spots. But yeah, it's kind of almost
think
like
about it. I got Blake with a smashed windshield in the cul-de-sac. I got Parker running around trying to pour piss on his face. I got people throwing up in the bushes. I got one team poisoning another team. And then, I'm sitting there at my house trying to manage all this. And it's like, it's a lot. It's a lot to keep track of 28 dudes, and keep everybody from dying because we've had some close calls. So it's, again, it's just going to be nice to actually go down there, play golf. And then I'm just another competitor at that point. I'm not having to fucking worry about when we're going to get dinner, prep all that. I'm not going to have to worry about cleaning anything up. I mean, we're making great moves, and I don't say that to say that I haven't enjoyed that part of it because I've loved that part of it. But it does, in my opinion, take away a little bit from for me the golfing part of it, which is ultimately what we're trying to do. I mean, we're trying to win a fucking golf tournament, not tackle Parker in my living room.
Yeah, no, totally. Let's talk a little bit more about just the ease for you this year. So everything basically is going to flow right into the clubhouse after Friday's round, correct? I mean, it's going to be
Yep.
food, drinks, everything's going to be set up for us. So after we're finishing round one, it's basically just going to be a quick little walk inside, and then we're going to have the raffle and everything like that, right? So
Yeah, I mean, I think
that's
everybody, once the round is done, everybody, for those that aren't staying at the Eagles Nest, I think, everybody can go home, of course, get a shower in, and then I think it'll be more of a banquet style meeting. People will roll in maybe half an hour after the round is over. We'll, slam some fettuccine Alfredo. Everybody's going to, have their, Friday night drinks and talk some scores, talk some, there's going to be obviously several teams that are feeling great and several teams that are feeling disappointed. And that's the beauty of Friday night. And then Saturday, same thing. We're going to get off the course. There's obviously, we'll, crown our champions, pop some champagne, roll that into a second dinner with our raffle, and that'll be that, man. But yeah, everything's going to flow through the clubhouse this year. They're super excited to have us. It's been a long time coming. We should have done this years ago where we just make the clubhouse the home base. And, they said we can stay as long as we'd like. I'd imagine that, at the very minimum, we're going to have everybody there until probably 9, but as people start to filter out, but I think it'll be a good party. And I think for us, it's going to allow us to, get maybe some late night putting reps in, maybe some early morning putting reps in, maybe a little bit of, maybe a little chipping practice on 18. I mean, you never know. I think it's going to be a good thing though. And the nice part is that the course is happy to have us. So that's the best part.
Yeah, that's really exciting. I mean, obviously, I'm biased and staying in the nest above, but man, it's going to be amazing just to have kind of home base, have everything, meals and everything kind of taking place at the clubhouse, and let everyone kind of come and go as they want. So really excited, and kind of with that, obviously, there's a couple new participants too that are coming part of this field. So I'm sure you're really happy to have yet another year of at least one or two new people coming to the Bluff. Which now Remy's obviously played in the BMI before, but this is his first Bluff experience. It is different. So really welcome to have him. And anything else you want to say about Bo's and Remy's first Bluff? Obviously Bo's first BMI, but both of their first Bluff experiences.
Yeah, I mean, it's super important for me, and I think it really should be super important for all of us that have been playing, lots of BMIs in the past, to grow the game. The BMI, we've set out on this mission, and yeah, we've done a great job thus far, but we're not done yet. And it's important to me to put ourselves in the position where we're continuously rolling people into this tournament. And I think with Remy, like you said, Remy's played in the BMI, but has he really played in the BMI if you haven't been to the Bluff? And Bo, same thing. He's never played in one, and I'm a little bit optimistic for both Remy and Bo that they'll be able to come to the Bluff, obviously take the Bluff for what it's worth, play good golf, and then once they're in, they're in. So this is part of my vision of the gradual increase that we've talked about on the show many times before. That I don't know what the perfect number is. I don't know, if it's really a realistic vision, but I'd really like to get this thing to 8, 9, 10 teams here in the near future, and adding people is the only way that we can do that. So once Remy and Bo are in. They're always welcome back, unless they don't want to be, and we roll from there, man. But yeah, I think having Bo as that number one seed really helps us as well, because it's always good to add really good golfers to the mix. It helps with the seeding, it helps with the drafting. And Remy, same thing. Remy's a guy who's improved drastically from where he was even 6 months ago. So it's good to have people that are good at golf, and people that want to play golf, people that are playing golf, people that are getting better at golf. And yeah, man, I mean, that's the vision. The goal is to pack Sapelo one day, and hopefully turn it into a week-long tournament.
Yeah, I'm not going to expand on that too much, because I was going to get to, I was going to literally ask you, is there a perfect number? And I
Yeah,
don't
I
think
don't
there
know,
needs to.
man. I don't know
Yeah,
if there
I
is.
don't.
I mean, it's my vision early on, and again, this is probably me just being naive, but my vision early on for the BMI was, 18 teams. That was my vision. I wanted the classic shotgun start that we've all played in, different charity events and whatnot. That was kind of my vision. The problem with that is that it's really tough. It's really tough to win a golf tournament with 2 teams, let alone 7 teams or 8 teams. Like we have 7 teams this year, but you start throwing 18 teams up there, it really makes it difficult to actually win a BMI sometime in the next decade. So, that part of it to me is a little bit of a detractor, but at the same time, I still do think there's room for growth, albeit incrementally. But I don't know, man. I struggle with that every year because I'm like, gosh, of course there's 20 other people that want to play. We could easily get this thing to 50 people tomorrow if we wanted to, but it's, you got to make those decisions to, I want people to have success, but at the same time, I want to try to be as inclusive as we possibly can because the BMI and the BPGA, it's a special thing, man. It's a special thing we got. So I hate taking that from people, but we're it's a work in progress. It's a working title.
I personally feel like it is a proper number right now, and I think I'm somewhere in the middle. I think growing the game and growing the tournament is ultimately what we want to do, but I also think it's with the right people and the people that want to be involved, that are golfing, that are investing the time, and I feel like we've done a good job of inviting people back. Sometimes it's schedule based, but I think it's going to happen naturally, and maybe there'll be an additional team or two in the next few years. But I think personally, it's exactly what we want right now.
Yeah, I mean,
So
you
I'm
want to
happy
have a
about that.
chance. You want to have a
My other
chance to win.
question, just around the tournament, Andy, is time of year.
Time of year. Oh, did we lose him?
I think we might have lost him.
Oh no. Oh,
Yeah.
you back? KJ, we lost you there for a second, bud.
Here.
He looks so confused.
Can you hear me?
Yep, can hear you
Yep,
now.
there you are. There you are.
Time of year. Time of year.
You guys got me?
Yep.
Yeah, time of year. I mean, obviously we've had it in early March, mid March. Obviously, kids involved, birthdays, all kind of stuff. But what are we looking at for timing? Are we going to stick with this? Are we going to stick with this time? We think long term.
Well,
Summer?
last year was a massive success. I think by all accounts, we had the best tournament ever, the best tournament conditions ever. Some would argue. And all in all, I really think that doesn't necessarily speak to the time of year. I think that more speaks to the quality of the field and the quality of the committee and what we had organized. That being said, I do think that there is a legitimate argument to make the change permanent. It's not necessarily a binding thing, and again, we have to be ultra flexible, and of course I like to be as flexible as I can when we're scheduling this thing because the more people that we add, the more conflict that is likely. The more kids that we keep having, the more likely there's conflict, the birthdays, all this stuff. So it's going to become more and more challenging as the future goes, and there's going to be people that have to miss the event any given year for whatever reason. But I do think that there is a good argument for having it in the summertime. And we got lucky last year with the weather. It wasn't as hot as it could have been. If this year we go out there and we've got people fainting in the fairways, we might have to reevaluate. But until that happens, I think that there's no reason to kind of look at the timing of it and go, yeah, this isn't working. For now, it's working, and I'm always one where the second that it stops working, we can reevaluate. But I think middle of the summer is good. It's a good middle point. Everybody usually has PTO. Everybody's usually available and gives us a reason to go down to the bluff. So I could see it perhaps moving back towards that, that early spring type of thing to more align with the Masters tournament, and that was the original vision for it. That's why it was the way that it was to begin with. But I could also see it staying in the summertime. But I think right now the summertime's good for us. It's good to get out there in the heat and sweat a little bit.
Yeah. No, that you hit that perfectly for me. So I feel like the last few years, maybe not every single year, but there has been some kind of change. Not format necessarily, but maybe some of the rules to year to year. Last year we adapted the tee box change, which I think was probably saved the tournament in some ways. I think it kept that 16 number into play instead of it going to maybe high teens and low 20s. Is there anything happening this year, or any talks about any additional changes to either round, or even maybe expanding the BMI one day to having 3 rounds in the weekend? Anything like that the committee has talked about?
Well, the tee box change was probably the smartest thing that we ever did. And the one thing that last year taught me, hand up, my fault. It really didn't have a great playoff format. We were kind of scrambling there for a bit. Granted, it worked out, but yeah, there's going to be some changes coming to the the playoff format as it relates to what the plan is in the event that we have that inevitable playoff again, because last year was what we like to call a clusterfuck that ended up working to our benefit, but at the same time we got kind of lucky. So yeah, I mean the playoff is gonna be reworked a little bit to where there actually is a game plan. That way there's not a whole lot of lag time between ending into a playoff like there was last year. But beyond that, man, no. I mean, I would love for the BMI to be a full-on 4-round tournament. The odds of that happening are obviously slim to none. It's very challenging to get people down there on a Friday, and I respect that. So I mean, yeah, that would be something where it might be better suited for another tournament, not necessarily the BMI. But I think the 2-round change, in addition to the tee box stuff, all the moves that the committee has made has only benefited the tournament. I mean, if you look at the tournament success, it's all coming from a place of wanting everybody to get the full experience. And I think that once we get this playoff format dialed in a little bit better, if there is a playoff, it'll be more organized, and there'll be a little bit of rhyme to the reason why we're doing it, and it should make for an even better finish than we had last year.
So one of my last questions, and you can answer this as in depth as you want to get, but obviously now we addressed it. You talked about this is your first BMI in Peachtree City, Sonoya, Georgia. That you live here in Sonoya, not a Blufftonian. Do you ever see the BMI moving? Doesn't have to be in the next year or 2 years, but do you ever see the BMI moving? More maybe north of Atlanta, or to a maybe beachfront course? Anything like that has ever been talked about with the committee at all?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure that'll be a popular topic, over some beers after the first round this year, and it is something that I've thought about. Sapelo does have a special place in my heart, especially with formerly living there and all the history that we've built there with my family. I really would like to get. I really would like to get a 10-year BMI anniversary there for next year, and what happens beyond that, I don't know. I mean, logistically speaking, it really doesn't make sense for anybody to come down to Shellman Bluff, Georgia, and it really didn't before, other than to, come see me. So it's not like it's been the easiest trip for anybody ever. But, that being said, there is something about having a course that I think allows us to not only play good golf, but also wants us there, and I don't know if we get that same I don't know if we get that same treatment at other courses, and I don't know if we get that same I don't know if we have the same ability to do what we're able to do at Sapelo as we are anywhere else, and I'm sure that there are courses that would allow us to do it, but I think that, at least for the very short term, speaking on next year, I really would like to finish, the decade of excellence off next year at Sapelo, and then I'm open to moving. I'm not opposed to it, but I think we have to understand that there's other factors at play, and Sapolo's only getting better. It's not getting worse. So, I don't know. It's a tough question. It's a very tough question, and I wish I had a better answer, but as of now, I'm fully prepared to have the BMI at Sapolo for this year and next year. And then whatever happens after that, hey, if anybody's got any ideas, I'm all ears.
Yeah, I personally think you hit it right there at the end. We want to go to a place that we're wanted at, and we have the chance to be ourselves with still holding this prestigious golf tournament. So that'll be an interesting conversation.
What other golf course is going to let us put 28 people on the tee box and let me tee up a fucking beer with a shotgun? And I don't know. I don't know if it exists. I haven't been to one other than Sapolo. Granted, I haven't tried to do that anywhere else, but at the same time, I don't know.
I think too, the BMI keeping it at Sapolo is important, and I think we could add a tournament, obviously, to the rotation at BPGA. Obviously, right now with weddings and kids, all that's difficult to do. So it's hard enough just to get everyone on the schedule to attend the BMI. But maybe we have that course, that different kind of course for a different tournament. Bring a Weeby back. Shout out to a Weeby.
Shout out to Weeby. Miss you, buddy. Miss you, a Weeby.
Maybe we bring a Weeby back at one of those courses. So, but no, thanks for answering that. Last couple questions for me. I mean, just getting into your individual performance, your health. I mean, how's the knee? A lot of people have been concerned about your weight gain from the last year. It was a huge topic around the draft. So, do you want to kind of talk to those people that maybe have doubted you, and talk to your haters, talk about Fat Andy?
Yeah, to all my haters. Knee is good. My tooth hurts like shit. I've got an infected wisdom tooth. My mouth hurts bad, and yeah, I mean, it needs to get removed. Yeah, I mean, I've put on a little bit of weight. It's not a secret. I've put on a little bit of weight. But that being said, that was my goal, was to put on weight, especially when you're out on the course and you're getting out drove by 80, 90 yards every hole. I weighed $130 at some of these BMIs. So, now I'm into that 170, fighting in that 170 weight class. And I think it helps my game a little bit. But no, knee is fine. Back feels great. Every round that I've played has been, incrementally better than my last round leading up to the BMI. Last time I played golf with Tripp, we went up there and played well. And I assume that I'm going to get a couple more rounds in pre-BMI. And, as long as we can avoid disaster with my mouth, we're going to be fine.
Love it. I love it. And obviously, you guys like your chances, I'm sure.
Oh, I don't know if I like our chances, but we're gonna show up and play.
Yeah. What's your give me your top two performers besides your team, obviously.
I was gonna say top two performers are gonna be Eric Murphy and Mark O'Leary. No, I think that and I say this all the time, privately and personally. I think that there's the argument for what works best at a BMI. So do you want to have that really good one swing filtered in with a bunch of the middle tier golfers, or do you want to have a bunch of those kind of B minus B plus guys? And I think that the recent history of the BMI shows us that it's, especially with the 2-day tournament, it's tough for one guy to be expected to hit a lot of good shots. 1-day tournaments are different. When we made that move to the 2-day tournament, it's not that it devalues those guys, Butters, Bo, Potter, but it's tough, man, because you're putting, those guys are going to be put in situations throughout a round, probably more often than they want to be, where they're going to have to step up and, hit really good shots. And they're all capable of doing that. But over the course of 2 days, you're gonna need help along the way. So I say all that to say that I think the teams that are the best this year are the wet ass putters and Wally Wonka and the Birdie Factory. And I mean that. And I say that knowing that I'm talking to somebody who's on one of those teams. But I think that the formula to success is to have guys that can all really, truthfully, can all hit as equally good of a shot as the guy standing next to him at any given point in time. There's huge value in that. Yeah, do certain teams have maybe an advantage off the tee with, having a guy like Butters? Sure. Or a guy like Bo. I haven't seen Bo play, but I'm sure Bo is capable of hitting better shots than anybody on those two teams that I just named. But it's a 2-day tournament. There's a lot of golf to be played. And I think there's a lot of value in when you hit a shitty shot that the guy next to you can go up there and hit a good shot. And not all the teams have that. It's tough to find that in the BMI. And I think those two teams specifically, like I said, they have the ability where anybody on that team can hit a shot at any given point in time. And that's not always the case. It's not the case for our team. Me and Corey are going to try our hardest not to put Eric in a position where he has to save our asses, but there's going to be a point in time where we do, and he's going to have to do it. And, again, the key is to just limiting him having to do that 15 times over the course of 2 days. Because if he's doing that, then we're not going to win. I mean, it's just not fair to expect anybody to do that. I've been on teams with Potter. I've been on teams with Butters. And I know how it looks. I know how it looks for those guys when they have to step up again and save the other three dumbasses that they're with. It's not an enjoyable position, but I think WAP and I think Wally Wonka have a legitimate chance to really do something special, and I'm excited to see them in the playoff hole. And may the best team win.
Amazing stuff, Chairman. Really good stuff as always. We really appreciate you coming on the show.
Yeah,
And
I love KJ Knows Best.
Yeah, I mean, don't we all? I'm just glad we're 18 days away, and can't wait to hear your first tee reading, obviously. And I'm really curious what kind of shot you're going to hit on the first tee this year. And I was thinking about it the other night right before bed, actually, just laughing. The same script over and over, but damn it, it's just so pure.
Oh, it's going to be
Timeless.
fucking piped. Everybody
Really
already knows it's going to be fucking piped.
So,
it's going to be 130 down the fairway, just like it is the last year. I think the year before that I missed badly, but this year, yeah, I'm swinging hard this year too.
Yeah. Well, Andy, Chairman Davis, thank you so much for joining the show. We look forward to seeing you down at the Bluff. And again, everyone, very, very soon, 18 days. So thank you for listening again, everyone. Good night, and thanks for watching.
Love you guys. Thank you, KJ Knows Best.
Good night.